Welcome to Unit 1.4. In this unit, we're going to learn about fixed references in formulas. If you're a person that uses formulas a lot, you definitely need to learn this. In our previous lessons, we learned how to sum. Let's go to this example over here. Over here, you can see it's summing A11 to A13. And then it changes to a B because we're now in column B, and it changes to a C because we're now in column C. This is referred to as relative copying. The same would apply to rows. This is adding row 11, row 12, row 13, row 14, etc. This is referred to as relative copy. Now let's try and apply this principle to this exercise, and you see we're going to come up with errors. What we have here is the spend by department, HR spend 15, sales spend 21, the total spend for all areas being 98,700. In C1, I want to work it out as a percentage. So in other words, HR made up 20% of the total spend, etc. The formula for this would be equals, click on the HR amount divided by the total and enter. To convert that to a percentage, you would use the percentage sign on your home ribbon. Let's copy it down. And as you can see, we get all these div errors that come up. What has happened here? Let's double click on the first one. You can see it's correct, 15 divided by the 98. Let's double click on the next one. It's taking 21, which is correct, and dividing by the blank cell underneath the total, hence the div error. The next one, it's then taking 16,800, dividing by a blank again. So as you can see, there's a pattern. The 15 is moving to the 21, 16,800, etc. as it should, but the total is also shifting into blank cells here. So somehow I need to tell Excel to anchor that or keep that total constant when I copy. So let's delete that. Equals, click on the 15,000. We don't do anything to that because it must move, divided by the total. Now, before you push enter, you would normally push your F4 key, and that's going to put dollars in your formulas. Or you can manually type them in, as I'm going to. I'm going to type a dollar just before the B, and I'm going to type a dollar just before the 6. What this means, it's got nothing to do with currency or money. It's the symbol Excel uses to say keep still. So in other words, the dollar before the B means keep column B constant, and the dollar before the 6 means keep row 6 constant. In other words, the whole cell. And enter. Let's copy and see what happens this time. As you can see, the formula is consistent all the way through. If I click on the 15%, you'll see it's B1 divided by B6. The next one will be B2 divided by B6, B3 divided by B6. The first part of this formula is relative, and the second part is absolute, as we refer to in Excel, or a constant. Sometimes you only need to keep the column constant, and sometimes you only need to keep the row constant. So let's look at this example at the bottom here. Over here, I want to say 1,000 times 10%, then 1,000 times 12% across this line, and then when working downwards, it would be 1,000 times 10%, 2,000 times 10%. So let's do it using no absolutes and see what happens. Equals that, times that, and enter. Let's copy down. First of all, the 100 is correct, but let's have a look at this one. It's taking the 2,000 and timesing by the 10% is moving down. And if I double click on the next one, it's then taking the 200,000 into the formula, timesing by the 3,000. So you can see that the 10% is shifting all the way through. I would need to keep that 10% constant if I were to copy down. Let's copy across. That is correct. Let's double click on the 12. In this formula, it should be saying 1,000 times 12%. It's now moving the 100 and timesing by the 12%. And this one is taking the 12 by 18%. So we also need to keep something constant here. So let's delete these answers and try again. Okay, so we're going to start with an equals. And we're going to click on the 1,000. And in this particular case, when I copy down, I want the 21 to change to the 22 to change to the 23, but I do not want column A to shift when I go across. So I'm going to put a dollar sign in front of column A, times, and I'm going to click on the 10%. Now, in this particular case, we don't want the row to shift. So in other words, it must stay on row 20. It mustn't go to 21, 22, 23. So I'm going to put a $sign in front of the row. So in this one, column A has been kept constant, and in this one, row 20 has been kept constant. And if I copy down, you can see it's correct. You can see that's correct. How about we copy across? Let's have a look. That is correct. And that one is also correct. So sometimes it's a relative copy, which is just a plain copy, and sometimes you need to do an absolute copy using your F4 key or just typing your dollars in. Sometimes it's a dollar before the column and the row, and sometimes it's just a row, and sometimes it's just a column.